Your Toronto Blue Jays preview episode of Dad's Bet Baseball is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. HOFapp.com. Using code DADS gets you 50% off the first month, 1 week free. We love Hall of Fame Bets. I was just in there all day today as I am hitting conference tournament first half totals. There's actually been cooking on hockey, which is great because our site has hockey. And I'm able to find players in there and then go over to Hall of Fame Bets and be like, what was this hit rate? And when I'm in the slip, can I do it against these types of defenses? And so it works really well with us, and it really works. And it's something that we love to use. So Hall of Fame Bets, HOFapp.com. If you are watching this, you can use the QR code. If not, go to the website or go to your app store and use code DADS. With that, we have brought, I'd argue, one of our top 3 favorite Canadians, Mr. Andrew McInnis. Welcome back to the first 2-time Canadian to join our show. I can tell you that. For this very important Toronto Blue Jays episode. This is a very important episode for CJ and I because this was our Jays last year when in January I texted him and said, we got to take the Jays at 40-1 to win the AL. And he said, why? And I said, because Sasaki's going to go there. And he said, probably not. And I said, well,
January 14th to be exact.
January 14th.
I have that slip date.
And then you said, all right, give me another reason that isn't because you think Sasaki's going there. And I said, because they're the same price as the Angels and the A's, and that they are a better team than both of those teams. And CJ said, fine, you're right. So we did, and it got there. George Springer got us there. I still have to get my jersey. More on George Springer later, but we're excited for this. So let's kind of go through the stuff, and then we'll talk with Andrew and CJ and myself, and we'll kind of get some bets. So 2023, they had 89 wins. 2024, they had 74 wins, and then no one cared about this team, and that's part of why we got in. They actually going into 2025, they had the worst one-run record in games, so there was going to be some positive regression. They won 94 games last year. Obviously, they won the AL East. They had a Pythag of 88, 20 win differential. They cashed a number of bets for us, including that AL East bet that we took in June. Notable guys who were here and guys who have left. So the acquisitions, they were busy. They were busy early. Dylan Cease, 7-year deal for that guy. Kazuma Okamoto, sorry. Is going to be manning third base. He is here from Japan. Tyler Rogers and his unique way to throw is also here. Cody Ponce comes in from the KBO Cy Young, basically. Max Scherzer re-signed about a week ago. Jesus Sanchez. If you love platoon guys, you will love Jesus Sanchez. Chase Lee and Eloy Jimenez, who I didn't realize was on the team last year, apparently in the minor leagues. He's killing it in spring training, but he re-signed. Guys who left. Bo Bichette got out of town, which was not cool the way he did it, not only to the Jays, but also to the Phillies at the midnight hour. Chris Bassett went to the Orioles, Sir Anthony Dominguez to the White Sox. Joey Loperfido was traded back to the Astros after he had been acquired from the Astros a couple years ago. IKF, who I would argue was a pretty good spark plug down the stretch for the Jays. He is with the Red Sox. He's a pretty good fit there, in my opinion. Ty France also left. No one noticed on that one. So, Andrew, because CJ has had to leave the building to go take care of his daughter, what do you remember about this team last year?
Oh, man, I remember how happy I was in the fall is what I remember. It was so exciting. But what I remember about the team was there was a large stretch where it was team total or nothing because I didn't trust the relievers. Like it was first 5 or it was team totals because I did not trust them to finish out games. This was a team that I think that when you looked throughout the entire lineup, you got contributions from everybody. And I think that, when you talk about the price you were able to get with them, I think a lot of it has to do with that. Like when you look at Nathan Lucas, when you look at Addison Barger, you look at some of these guys that stepped up, I feel like those guys weren't being accounted for when it comes to what people looked at and thought about when they thought about the Toronto Blue Jays, really. But I'll tell you what I number one betting thing I remembered was just being so thankful in every single game that I played them that I was not on the money line and I was on the team total because they made it sweaty every single game. Like it could be like 7-3 and all of a sudden it's like an 8-7 game or whatever. So, this team, they were never out of games. early in the season last year, they actually did struggle to hit the ball. They were kind of an under team out the gate, and then their offense kind of exploded a little bit. But I feel like ever since I was a kid watching this team, every year they either had starting pitching or they had a bullpen, and there was nowhere in between. And obviously, we kind of know what the answer was for last year. They had some relievers, don't get me wrong, but we remember a couple meatballs that were thrown down the middle in the playoffs even, or, in the regular season that hurt them. But I was just so happy to see this team kind of get the, after they had such a great season, to get that, to get rewarded the way they did. But I'll tell you, I was never, ever comfortable watching the Toronto Blue Jays play, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like they had a mix of, as you look at who they ended up starting in the playoffs, this team had like a mix of, like Vlad and a bunch of guys that are doing really well. And then some of this bullpen's doing really well. Like, I think it's just sort of, and CJ, you can, bring up HG and you can also weigh in on this. Almost like I don't even want to say they ran out of gas, but you could tell that there was like fatigue involved on certain guys. It really felt a lot like that from a pitching standpoint, just kind of like the Phillies, like in 2022, where their bullpen that was like lights out all season was just suddenly like, we're really tired at this point. I don't know, CJ, throw it to you. Oh, look at that. Handigraphs is on screen.
Yeah, it looks so beautiful. I can't wait to be in this every single day for baseball. I know, McInnis, you're already in this a lot for hockey, which is great. But yeah, I mean, to your point, McInnis, like the team total stuff, remarkably consistent from a lineup perspective by the end of the season. They were 5th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. They were 4th in WRC plus against left-handed pitching. 4th overall in WRC plus from a lineup standpoint. And yeah, they did start off, pretty cold from the batting side of things. But I think another thing that was interesting about the Blue Jays was like every team, we always talk about in baseball, Adam, that every team has swoons throughout the season. Yeah. And I didn't really feel like Toronto had necessarily like a major swoon. And even down the stretch, when it got really sweaty with the Yankees, it's not even that Toronto was playing poorly. They finished the season in their last 30 games, 17-13. It's just that the Yankees went a insanely hot 22-8, including 8 straight. But I actually think, as far as how the team played in the postseason, the Yankees on their ass was like maybe one of the best things for this clubhouse because it forced them to have to basically play in playoff mode for all of September, including, will be forgotten. The Rogers Center, the last game of the season, I think was it Kirk that hit the grand slam, was fucking electric. Like, there were so many good Rogers Center highlights from that like September postseason. It's one of the few teams, other than just to reminisce on hitting our 40-1 bet with Springer hitting the home run at him, where I'll find myself just randomly watching like YouTube clips of the postseason. Like the Vlad grand slam against Max Fried when it was already like 8-0. And it's just absolute ecstasy from every single Canadian in that building. Like it was just so much fun to watch. So I think lineup wise, like this team still should be pretty good, but like you did lose your best actual contact hitter in Bichette. And I'm curious, like, what do you think was the ultimate reason? Was it just that Bichette wanted to get the bag? Was it because there was some disagreements, I guess, in the past? I know he's like, I think, Adam, you've quoted this a few times, like he said that he wasn't going to come back.
Well, his dad has been nice enough to say to people that he doesn't want to be, like 2 years ago, when he suddenly had a knee injury for the whole year.
But I was convinced the whole offseason, I'm like, he's coming back. Like the Clubhouse 5 has to be so good. And that just felt a little weird to me that he didn't want, or that Toronto, it seemed like, it wasn't even like Toronto, I felt like, was seriously in the game come that final week when he did make his decision. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, McInnis, but I did find that a little weird coming into this season.
It did kind of seem like he was kind of becoming a little bit of a, I don't know, like kind of thought he was the man a little bit. Like maybe he was always like, a diva, exactly. Like it maybe he kind of always had that in him. But we sort of started to see that a lot more. And I'll tell you guys, not to be like that negative guy, because
you're never negative, so you're allowed to do it.
But you know what? Like, I think it's a really good thing for us as Blue Jays fans to have been able to see for an extended stretch how they could perform without him. And I think, honestly, that could have hurt his ego seeing, oh my God, like these guys are doing all of this without me, I'm not the guy. And I feel like obviously he's a team player, but when that happens to you, you almost realize you aren't the man. You want to go get the bag somewhere else. Like you said, CJ, I feel like it'd be a little bit different if it was like, hey, we need you. Like, you're our guy. Like, obviously you mentioned like the best best contact hitter on the team. But I don't know. I feel like as Blue Jays fans, it's either going to be one thing that is like a huge eye opener that, hey, like a lot of these guys on the team overachieved and it's going to hit us like a bag of bricks, or it's going to be like, okay, we can do this without Bo. But I don't know. I feel like people were unsettled on what it was going to be like.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, that his idea of him being the man, that was all the way back after he hit that 3-run home run in Game 7. Like, I don't think he left the season being like, I am no longer the man. I think his dick felt bigger than ever after Game 7, even though they still didn't win the game.
I mean, again, so then he decided that he's going to go to the Mets on opt-out deals and play a position he's never played before.
Good luck with that, Bo.
Right, exactly. You actually, CJ, though, you had mentioned something, all this stuff of like, wow, like Roger Center moment. Here's something I can't believe we never noticed. We collectively, I can't really speak for McInnis, but CJ and I definitely did not notice this until off season. This team was bonkers better at home than they were on the road. 54-27 at home and 40-41 on the road. Yo, like, I don't think anyone would ever say this Jays team was a fraud. They weren't. They absolutely, their entire run is what a championship pennant winning run is like. It's a collective of players that isn't 9 different all-stars. It kind of felt like the San Francisco Giants in a way. Like, it's like a lot of guys just doing their jobs really well. But that is massive. What do you kind of, I mean, we always talk about home and road splits because of sight lines and things like that. But I didn't realize how big that was. And I combined that with the Pythag, and like a little bit of me is like, all right, well, last year had a little bit of season of magic in it. This year, it still has some really good players. But again, like, who's going to come back down to earth? So I have a feeling like we're all going to say the same guys are going to come back down to earth. But McInnis, who's a guy that you saw last year that just popped that you think is number one guy that's going to come back down to earth? And that doesn't necessarily mean bad, but it just might not mean what it was last year.
It's funny because I was looking at this before the show and thinking, okay, which guy is a guy that I think that I was going to be like, all right, I think he's going to just keep it going. But I had to face reality. And when I kind of look over everything, I worry about a guy like Nathan Lucas. And, he was someone that, again, when you look at the end of the season and even into the playoffs, like, he wasn't even getting involved all the time in all the lineups, but some of the big plays that he made, like late game homers or, doubles, like this was a guy that knew how to get on base. And I his poise at the plate was really impressive. So I do kind of worry about that. A guy that I know you didn't ask me this, but a guy that I'm curious what you guys think about is Barger. Like, Barger's for me, he's actually he's a low key X factor for me
because he's a
stat
cast hero.
Yeah. I'll let you go on this one, CJ. I've done this for 2 years, and I like Barger, but go.
I like this is not a case of like Bryce Terang. I think Barger is like legit. I would like to have Barger on my team. I think that he's, and I mean, great nickname also in Bam Bam. Like, that's just
his nickname.
It's Bam Bam. Bam Bam Barger.
Oh, I didn't know
it's
that.
awesome.
That's awesome. I like that.
So like,
that's hot. That's actually might change my opinion about a lot of things. That's a great fucking nickname.
Bam Bam Bam. Yeah, there's a lot of like just sick ways you could take that, but I mean, 116 max EV, 11.4 barrel percent. That's fine. Really good expected slug. ISO is really good. But like, I think to answer your question, McInnis, a lot of his core StatCast stuff for me was indicative of like somebody who should still be a good quality hitter this season. Like 24% K rate. Really, to be honest, 24% K rate is like, that's not great, but it's not like we're talking about like a O'Neal Cruz level. It's something that you could be able to still probably bring down a little bit. The O swing rate is a little bit high, but I think the people that are trying to put him in the camp I'm trying to see, Berg, if I could find like any odds on his home runs, because I'd be curious if he is a popular guy to be betting like preseason home runs.
I think
but he's not.
He's at 55 on the power rating. He's not. He's not the type of player that should, look like he should be hitting. I'm trying to see, is he even listed right now for? Let's see. Is he listed for 30 home runs?
17.6% strikeout rate, lowest in baseball last year. Like they got every pitcher's pitch count up high, like early in game. Can that be sustained? You know what I mean? Like that's something that maybe that's a veteran thing. Maybe that's some of these guys are just so good at, working the at bat, but I worry about that as well.
4-1 on 25 plus home runs.
They've also always been good at that. Like that's the thing, is that a lot of these guys, like Nathan Lucas and like the Davis Schneiders of the world, like a lot of these guys are pure platoon guys, and they have these incredible splits. There's only like 4 guys on the team who are playing every day, and it's like Kirk, Barger, Vlad, Varsho, I guess, if he's healthy, but and everyone else, and Springer, and like everybody else is kind of is a platoon. I mean, this team's always had a good sense of, like, this team's hasn't, at least the last couple of years under Schneider, they haven't K'd a lot. Like which is something I will give them credit for. But Barger's like the most popular guy on Twitter that everybody says, who's going to hit a home run today? And I got news for you, man. Like, CJ obviously left the screen, had to go, and it's over to the side. But he actually does not, he's probably not going to hit a home run. He's probably going to hit a double or have 2 hits. So
it was something or nothing. I want to say that you go back to just while CJ's gone, I'll say, like, when you guys talk about like Canada's team and things, like, I know that maybe it could be, some people could say it's like overplayed and stuff. Like, that's one opinion that I will be strong on, because like, just imagine it. Like, so pretty much the only people that in Canada that don't cheer for the Blue Jays are the people in Vancouver that cheer for the Mariners. Right? So you've got an entire country. Like, I'm at a bar that's a 2.5 hour flight, not a drive, a flight away from the Rogers Center. And people are like, hey, are you going to go to the game tomorrow? Are you thinking about going up to the playoff game this week? Like, people are discussing going to the Blue Jays games, and we're a 2-hour flight away. Like, it is, you guys would just absolutely love to see it. You guys are both sports guys. Like, it is, when the Raptors made their run, there was like downtown and where I live, just like TV set up, absolute floods of people, like hundreds and hundreds of people, like just. Is
that Jurassic Park, like the area for rap? That's cool.
Yeah, like we had that in our city, and again, we're a 2-hour flight away from the actual Jurassic Park, so it's pretty cool, because I feel like the one pleasure you get, and don't get me wrong, I know there's people that are tourists that go to every ballpark, but I think every single day the Blue Jays play, there's a lot of people that are seeing them for the only time they're going to see them all year, or like they're in Toronto for that weekend. So like the atmosphere is just unbelievable in the building.
I love the Canada Day. Was it like July the 3rd when everybody's got to wear like, or is it July the 1st? Okay. The typical American. I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
All good.
But because I like distinctly remember too, there's a series. I think wasn't that the series where they swept the Yankees? I think it was like a 3 or 4 game series.
Oh, it was great, because it was also the big beautiful bill was signed that same day.
Yes. And then it culminated with Michael Kay just having an absolute like tantrum on air about this, because and it was so great because he just took the bait. Like every single Toronto broadcaster it was like catnip for them. So, there's just a lot of fun things to talk about, I think, with this team from last year. Unfortunately, I don't think there's as many fun things to talk about this team coming into this year as there was going into last year. And that's not to say, I want to just start by saying, I don't think this team is going to be bad. It's not like I think that this was you've got a $500 million player in Vlad Guerrero, and Vlad Guerrero
going to be there the rest of his career. Keep in mind,
and it wasn't like he had an end-to-end phenomenal season last year. Now his second half split's way better than his first half, and he turned it on when he needed to turn it on. But like, you still have some really good players on this team. You also had George Springer, who was a 6+ WAR player. And like, I'm going to go back and look at this team just backing on handy graphs. George Springer had a 166 WRC plus at age 36. I love George Springer. I think George Springer should go to the Hall of Fame, even if it's literally just because of what he's done in the postseason. You're not getting another season of George Springer hitting a 408 WOBA, 959 OPS. This guy flirted with a freaking 1 OPS. And yeah, I think there's a lot of candidates on this lineup for regression besides Vlad. And I also think that from a starting pitching side, I'm not sold on this rotation at all. I think Dylan Cease getting the money that he did was, I mean, good for him getting the bag early on, but I would have much rather seen a guy like Framber or Ranger go to this team to back up Gausman. I don't see a strong lefty that I would feel confident in. And when I look at, kind of the answer from a lot of Toronto fans is that it's going to be the chosen one in Savage. And don't get me wrong, like I looked at Savage's, I was trying to see if his postseason metrics under the hood weren't that good, but he just got lucky.
Yeah, it was great.
Postseason metrics were fantastic. I mean, he had a 40% whip, 43% hard hit rate, which not great, but everything else, from I think it was a whip standpoint, he was a 1.05. I need to see more of it though before I'm okay. I think that you've got Savage as your ace, and then you can just hopefully lean on Gausman and Cease as your main two other guys. But it's a right-handed dominant rotation. There's not a lefty in here that I love, and I don't love the bullpen on this team either. This was a problem last year. They didn't address it. Edwin Diaz was another guy that we talked about in our free agent draft that would have made a ton of sense to come to this team. And it seemed like they really were investing their resources in trying to pursue guys like Kyle Tucker, which obviously didn't pan out. So, yeah, I am cooler. I am a lot cooler on this team heading into this season than I was last season, and I still think that they will still be good. But yeah, I don't know what you go on, Bert, because I feel like you share sort of a similar vantage point from where I'm looking at this.
So you kind of, spoiler alert, one of the bets I really love is George Springer under batting average under 256. Because I was looking, I'm how many guys, I looked up, who are the guys that have been 36 or older and had a 300 season that are not, by the way, George Springer has a career average of 266. It's not bad, but that is not 309. David Ortiz hit 300 in his final season at 40. Ichiro, can't count. Moises Alou did on
Ichiro's bats. I don't even consider Ichiro.
And Tony Fernandez did at 37. But basically, it is incredibly rare to do after a 300 year for someone that old to have this kind of regression. He basically would have to project to being 160 hits if he does 600 plate appearances. There's a billion. There's a lot of ways this is together. But when we get to the wrap up, but that's my main bet, CJ, that I was I'm very excited about this is going to be his batting average under for the season just because of that stuff. But that was the thing that I wanted to bring up to you, McInnis, too, is that the pitching, guys, Bieber took his tender and, by the way, was clearly hurt because he hasn't thrown a pitch since then. He didn't even take it. It wasn't even a tender. It was opt-in, which they didn't expect him to do. He opted in and he's clearly hurt. And so they have then they have Scherzer, who will pitch 70, 80 innings maybe this year. You're going to have to, after you ostracized him from the team for the last month of the season, you're going to now have to have an awkward situation with Barrios being on this team and having to log innings. I don't know, man. I'm glad you said it, CJ, but I am very concerned about this starting pitching. Also, by the way, Dylan Cease has a career ERA over 9 in the playoffs, just to be very clear with people. I don't know, Andrew, what are you thinking?
The Barrios stuff that you mentioned, that is the most confusing thing to ever he apologized to the team as a whole. Then he apologized to every player individually. I don't think there's I could read 10 more articles about this and I'm still not going to understand what the hell happened here. And the fact that I guess I can sort of respect the guy, because if it was me, I wouldn't be coming back to this team. I would,
right, dude. I would be like, F this. Yeah.
I'd be too embarrassed. Like my pride would be like, holy shit, I feel like a dumbass. Like, what was I thinking there? The Savage stuff. When I do think about like previewing teams and the seasons, you think about the pressure, right? Like who's the pressure going to be on? And I feel like, there's such a positive way to look at this starting pitching, and there's a negative way to look at it. And I think one of the negative things is how much pressure is going to be on you, Savage. Like everybody saw what he did in the playoffs. Everybody saw what he did towards the end of the year. Now it's like, okay, what are you able to do for a full stretch of the season, full workload? Can you be that guy that everybody thinks you are? Because as we know, guys, when you see somebody kind of tell the whole fan base, this is what you can expect from me, that's what they expect every game now. And he looked pretty damn good. So besides the homer in the last game, but we won't discuss that. And Kevin Gausman, I'll tell you what, guys, he was someone like in the playoffs, he got the job done for us, but he always makes me sweat. Like he'll get in a jam, he'll have runners on the corners with one out, and somehow he's just doing that walk back to the dugout, and he gets out of it. Like
Gausman, like every time I watch him, he kind of looks like a guy on like he's like leaving an AA clinic a little bit on withdrawal. Like he's like it just something looks
he's
like
got a really awesome
twitching a little bit,
by the way. Which kind of fits into it. So
and I mean he's also good for, I call this like the Sonny Gray method, where he's going to give up a dinger at some point during the game. Like you just know it, you expect it. He's still a very good starting pitcher, but I think in every one of those postseason games, he gave up at least either one home run or 2 earned runs in every single outing. Like you weren't ever getting a Gausman lights out 8 innings shutout ball, like just completely. He's not that dominant type of pitcher. He's also
because he's a sweeper. He's sweeper right, and if the sweeper isn't working, then you're done, because that's how he backdoors everybody.
He's another guy too. He's another guy too with his home and away splits. They're pretty stark. I mean, at least career wise. Last year, actually, weirdly, like on the road, he was better. But normally, he is a guy that pitches much better, either at home, or I think it's at home compared to being on the road. I like the Tyler Rogers signing from a bullpen standpoint. I just know like that dude was like the only guy that had any sort of pulse on the Mets last year, and the Mets really tried hard to bring him back. So that was a good signing. I don't know if you're getting another season like you did from Hoffman. I mean, Berg has a lot of history there. Like
he's a setup guy. That was it. He looked at the end like he blew, like he had such arm fatigue. Like it looked like he had nothing left.
I mean, yeah, well, I don't want to relive Game 7 memories for you, because I think that would just be cruel. But I don't think anybody ever felt comfortable with him on the mound to close the game. And you got a best case scenario. That was one of the things I think a lot of people called out with this team coming into last season, was that, man, Jeff Hoffman's going to be the closer for this team. Like, there's no way they're going to make that work for the whole year. And they did, like, credit to him. But when Eric Lauer is like your best lefty coming out of the pen, and every other bullpen arm in there has a walk per 9 of like basically almost 4. Yeah, like I have some real concerns, and this is a division that we've talked about on this preview. We haven't even gotten to 2 of the other behemoths in here within the Red Sox and the Yankees, but we did certainly mention it with the Orioles. I think the AL East could easily be the best division in all of baseball this season, with all the additions that the Orioles made, the Red Sox with our guy, the Roman Emperor, Roman Anthony, and a lot of the other additions that they've made. The Yankees, I mean, we're basically the best team in baseball by many statistics coming down the last 6 to 7 weeks. And they also have a guy named Aaron Judge. So, betting wise, when I look at the Jays, you're getting a lot of expensive prices because this team went very public because of their run in the going to the World Series. Even like I went to look to see, I'm like, we're going to get any value on Vlad home runs, because it was a down year when he probably batted ball wise, should have hit more. Like 30 home runs, you still have to pay like minus 145 for him.
His ISO, by the way, is still low in WBC and in spring training. Just like to be clear, like the stuff that we saw last year, like everything's great, but his ISO is still his ISO is low. Like I wouldn't trust it for a guy to hit 30.
So I when I'm trying to think of how do I bet this team, like I'm not going to clearly bet anything on their ceiling because you're not going to ever get the 40-1 price that you were going to get last year that we paid for. And I look at it more of how am I going to be able to play the sort of World Series hangover? And is there any way that I can play to fade this team from an exacta standpoint? And when I look at like the finishing position, for example, for the Blue Jays, they are right now, if you want to take them as third or fourth, plus 340 for third, but you can take them to finish fourth at 5-1. So if you think that the Orioles, the Red Sox, and the Yankees are better than this team, you can get that at 5-1 right now.
What's the head-to-heads? Do we have any of those? Let's look. Head-to-heads are fun. I mean, the only guy that I was really looking at Vlad. I can't find hits leader anywhere, and I would have taken Vlad possibly as hits leader for that. I have in my slip, and I want to talk to you guys. What do you guys think about Vlad 200 hits at 3-1? He's for 190 is plus 180, but I feel like, you know, if he gets to 190, it's going to be like the 3-1 for 200. Like, obviously, this is without having a hits leader, because if you're going to bet someone for 200 hits, you might as well bet him for hits leader. But what are your guys' immediate reactions to Vlad 3-1 for 200 hits?
I think that, you know, one thing with Vlad is that as much as he's a guy that can just absolutely send the ball to the moon, like I feel like he's gotten a lot smarter at the plate. Like, we all know how great Vlad is, but like the ability to just put the ball in play or to make the right decision. Like, people laughed at me last year when I said that this team kind of played small ball every now and then, because I would say that, and then they would have like a 4 home run game, and it'd be like, yeah, obviously not a small ball team. But I don't know. I feel like as far as that bet's concerned, I feel like it's good for you that he just knows how to get on base. Like, and I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the depth behind him. Like, if he trusts everybody coming up behind him, then he's more comfortable, you know, settling for a single and not going for, you know, the home run every time. But I think it's
he doesn't swing like recklessly, you know, like that's the thing.
But he used to.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like his expected batting average for last season was 315. And so I was trying to actually just do the math on this bird and see what would it take based on play.
He almost got it 2 years ago, just to be clear. Like, he had 199. Like,
so you've got you basically have to hit 300 and get at least a 666 to 670 plate appearances. So he'll get the plate appearances. So long as he's not hurt, he will get there. Again, if you play last season over the course of, you know, many simulations that the type of expected metrics would play out, then he would have easily cleared it. Last year.
Almost had, like I said, like he had 199 and 24.
He was a 292 hitter last year. So, like, even just as a result, I do kind of like. Was it 3-1?
3-1.
Not a bad price for him,
right? I think we all agree. Like, if we could find hits leader, like that's the one, you know, like because like that's what you're saying. But without that market, because like. He had 126, 58, 188, 175, 159, 199 in 2024, where he batted 323. But like, he is, if he wants to, if things work out, like he's generally he's a 300 hitter. Like 292 is kind of his floor.
How are hits leader markets not up? Because I'm like,
I don't know that in doubles, because I never got that Brian Reynolds, and I really
RBI and saves leader are up before hits leader. What? Come on, guys.
I don't know. It's weird to me. That it's so funny because I was going into this, I was trying to make the case. I'm like, what about Dylan Cease to get like 14 wins? And it was only like plus 190. And it's just also, I don't know, because spoiler alert, like I think this team goes under their win total. So like I don't want to pay a premium. Like the odds don't work out if I think that they're gonna have less wins. Like that should be higher to me. But I mean, I basically, when I did my research, I came to this conclusion that I liked. I wanted to ask your guys' opinion on Vlad 200 hits, but I really liked George Springer under the batting average. Like that was like my favorite. There's a lot of he also played a 2 7-game series, extra 7-game series. I mean, he got hurt. You know, like I mean, he's a 37-year-old man. He's only 7 years younger than me. Like this is not.
And it's a great point, Berg. And people don't think about that when they think about baseball like they would with a sport like football or hockey or even basketball. Like the fatigue can be there. These guys aren't like, you know, running around like nonstop, whatever, but the different type of fatigue, arm fatigue or whatever it might be, like he is getting older, so he sacrificed a part of his body for that playoff run, and that was
Right.
It's a long run. So I agree with that. I think that's why it sets up, I think, for the whole pressure on this team is going to be the bottom of the order. Like, these guys have to be able to put the ball in play when there's games where the top guys aren't being the top guys. And obviously the elephant in the room that's staring at all of us that I know that I'm going to hear on Sportsnet here in Canada for the first 2 months of the season is Bo Bichette. And so, if Okamoto can do his thing, I mean, he's looking all right in spring training, but that's going to be the thing. Can our infielders hit the ball? Can some of the bottom of the order guys hit the ball? I got one Dylan Cease that I kind of like.
Yeah. Well, hey, before you say that, like, real 2 quick 1 sentence thoughts on both these guys from both of you. One, we were talking about lefties. Ricky Tiedemann gonna make this team? Is he still hurt? Is he dead? Like, he was like, for a while, he was like the guy, and it was a lefty. I don't know if he's still alive. And also, I wanted to ask you guys to that point earlier about Ernie Clement. Like, what's your, like, is that? I mean, we talked about Addison Barger, but who's for real, Ernie Clement or Addison Barger?
I'm
a get on base guy, so I like Ernie. Okay. What about you, TJ?
Right. I think Barger just brings a higher ceiling, as even though we, obviously loop him into the StatCast hero camp. Like, I just think you're going to get more, you're going to get more value, like, long term out of some of the extra base stuff that Barger can do, even just by hitting, more doubles than he would home runs. I think the question on Tiedemann, it doesn't look to me at all like he's going to be making. I mean, he just got reassigned today.
All right. Well, then there you go. That dream is over.
I don't know if I really believe
he's been hurt forever. I mean, he was. I mean,
and they don't. The other thing is, like, Savage, like, they kind of blew their load by having Savage come up and crush. And again, like, all credit to them that move worked out and would do that move 100 times out of 100 based on the result. But, their next best prospect in JoJo Parker, like, he hasn't even hit single A yet. So there is not help on the way for them. Now, they may have some pieces that they can be able to move around. But also, like, in the postseason, like, you got the king of men on base, Andres Jimenez, who is, by all accounts, a pretty terrible hitter. He bats ninth for a good reason.
He was batting cleanup for half the season. It was great.
And so he better be unbelievable with his infielding if he's going to be that trash.
That was so bad. I used to bet him for 2Ks a game. Wait, Andrew, we didn't cut you off in the original thing. You were saying you did have a Cease pitching prop that you kind of liked or something.
Plus 110, 220 Ks for Cease.
That's not bad.
Look, I just think
that's a good floor bet.
Exactly. Like, it's plus 110 there. And if you look, like, I think what was my numbers here? Like, if we get, like, if we get the expected innings that we're supposed to get out of him, the Blue Jays picked him up for that reason. I think one thing, guys, with the worry about this Blue Jays bullpen, a lot of these guys are going to be expected to go late into games. Like, if, whatever happens with Barrios, one thing about him, inning eater, right? Kevin Gausman, they kind of manage him a bit, but you're going to want him to go in deep. This team is going to be in trouble if they have to end up yanking starters early. So I think Dylan Cease is going to go late. And as much as he can get in trouble hanging stuff over the plate, he strikes guys out, and
his swing strike rate
it's plus 110 for 200,
right?
220.
That's okay, 220.
Well, and his
that makes
his swing strike rate, like, all the guys for, like, because of ABS, I'm looking at guys like that. Like, he's got an elite swinging strike rate because that's what I care about. Like, I want, like, with all these new, we measured everybody to see what their actual height is.
That is a good example, though, that you brought up, McInnis, because the bullpen, like, everybody knows how much of a liability that looks like on paper coming into the year, and if that pen is as stinky as a lot of people are projecting it to be, like, there's no other out for them than to keep their starters, like, eating more of those innings. So I would be curious on a day-to-day standpoint too for him. Like, I think people do kind of forget, like, that he does strike out a lot of batters. Expected ERA wise too, he was fine, like, last year. Like, it did, like, StatCast would tell you that Cease actually got like pretty unlucky. I think he's just that type of pitcher from the batted ball stuff. Like he's just either going to have like very high variance. This is a guy that like was very close to pitching a perfect game 2 years ago. And I think literally I had texted Adam something about how I think Dylan Cease is good. Adam responded and says that he sucks. And then like that night, no hitter.
It's so accurate. It's so true.
That is Dylan Cease. Like one, literally from start to start, you can think like, damn, this guy's, I actually can't believe that he's like 30 years old. I, for some reason, think he's been in the league a lot longer because he's just been kind of a polarizing player. But yeah, I kind of like that K1 because he has hit the 220 in 3 of his last 5 seasons, and he was real close the other 2 seasons, 214 in 2023, 215 in 2025, and he'll throw a lot of innings. So.
And if we're honest, guys, like I'm going to play the Canadian card again, but there's a real common theme with free agencies that go to Canadian teams, like not just in baseball, whatever it is, like they're not young, right? Berg was talking about Springer. Like, I mean, this guy, how old was he when he even arrived with the Blue Jays, right? So
it's true. He's like 33.
People forget though how good these guys are, but just the Blue Jays are getting them late. They're getting them when people maybe their opinions aren't as high on them. It sounds like he's going to fit in a Canadian market just fine, but they could be headlines everywhere. Dylan Cease, 9 Ks, or it could be like Dylan Cease out of the game after 2 innings, one or the other. So
he won't do that though. He doesn't get that's not how he gets shelled. It's 3rd time through the order for him, and it's usually like he's a Sonny Gray kind of guy. He's like, okay, I'll give you 6 and 3, and I'll give up 3. All right. So one thing we didn't talk about that is an elephant in the room is Anthony Santander has not picked up a baseball bat, by the way, in 4 months. Anyway, there's that. That's for the May episode of this. All right. Let's kind of go there. So, okay, Andrew, give me your favorite futures, and then we're gonna your favorite futures, recap them again, and then we're gonna go around and we'll do over under on the win total. What are your favorite bets for this team?
So again, I like the 220 Ks for Dylan Cease. I sneaky bet. I'm waiting for average prices to be out, but I might look at Vladdy to lead the division in hits, which could be a pretty interesting one.
Is that a market?
I do like him over on his average for Vladdy, and I'm going to be looking at props for. We call him Big Sexy, but I think Kirk's going to have to be the guy that it is consistent as well. I keep talking about it. The big name guys aren't going to be able to do it all the time. Kirk had that 3-run or the grand slam in that late game towards the end of the season. He's someone that I'm going to be looking at. So whether it's hits for him or percentage, he's going to be someone. And you guys talked about it. And CJ, really great point by you that I didn't really think of it like this for future bets because Adam's really getting me into futures. I haven't always been a future guy, but you talked about the lineups, the guys that are in and out of the lineup. And that's something that, if you're taking future bets on some of these other guys that they're not even playing every day or every second day even. So it's something worth mentioning. And for a guy like Kirk, he's pretty much playing a large portion of the games for the Blue Jays. So he's somebody that I'd be looking at. Look, I've thought about it. I looked at all the downside, but I still think the number on the win total, guys, is a little bit low. I think they can surpass it. I think that what do we have this at? We have this at 88 and a half.
88 and a half.
Okay. Look, the starting pitching is not as bad as people think. I don't think the starting pitching is as bad as people. When you look through the order, I don't think that this team's going to get crushed with that. I think it's the bullpen that worries me. But if these guys can eat innings, can stay into games late, maybe the arm fatigue is going to be a problem. But Savage showed what he can do. He's got confidence. And I think that when you look at the swing and miss rate for these guys, I mean, they can all strike guys out. And Shane Bieber, once he's healthy, he's pretty good. We know we're going to get from Gausman and pick up Dylan Cease. Who knows what he's going to be able to do with the Blue Jays? But for some reason, everyone's already writing him off before the season's even begun. And he has that high strikeout rate. We'll see. The big thing with Bichette, look, Bichette's gone, but they proved for an extended period that they could do it without him by committee. And let's not forget about Okamoto coming into the lineup. They need a guy in the infield that can hit the ball.
Guy. Yeah.
I think he's going to be a smart hitter. So I'm going to take the over. I'll be the fan. I'm wearing the hat. You guys know I'm on here as a Blue Jays guy, but I think that that people are really thinking, oh, this team made the World Series. And they're going to go back, but I just think that they did it by committee. It wasn't just a couple of guys. And let's be real here. Think about the series against the Yankees. When you look at that series against the Yankees and we look at this Yankees team overall, we know how great they are. But in a big moment, who were the secondary guys that were stepping up for them, like the secondary guys were stepping up for the Blue Jays? And
no, they weren't.
I feel like that was really the biggest difference.
Ben Rice, and that's it. That was all. Nope. So over on the win total, and we got some cease action. CJ, to you.
McInnis, I love you. I'm unsubscribing from that take, though.
Okay.
This is.
Am I invited back on in 4 months?
This is a dead end. Of course, you can come on whenever you want.
We love Petty. We love Petty. So like
dead under for me though. I think 88.5 is at least
3 wins too high.
At least 3 wins too high. Damn it. Yeah, that's what I was going to.
I know you. Yeah. You're my baseball wife. I know this very well.
Yeah, I am under on this team. I hate to say it, even though I will still be rooting for this team, just again as a casual fan because they're very fun, and this team also really gets under Yankee fan skin. So that's fun for me too. I think the bet that I would take, if you listen to one of our previous team previews and you did take this bet, then don't take the one that I'm going to say now, which I'll go back to that finishing 4th in the AL East at 5-1. Because I had also given out a few of the sort of trifectas where I put Baltimore ahead of them. And spoiler alert, I am going to be likely talking a little bit more optimistically about the Yankees and the Red Sox as well. You can play the win band, by the way, like if you really want to start to fade them, but I think it's like 79-83 is like 4-1. I'm like, well, if they're going to be in 79-83, then they're most likely going to finish fourth in the division. And also now you're kind of running into the range where maybe Tampa could pass them. But I gotta see Savage be able to do this for a whole season. They haven't addressed the lefty piece that I had mentioned, and they will feel Bichette more than we think in some different areas, even if he's gonna try it out at third base there in Queens. But
so what's your floor? I hate to ask CJ, but make me suffer. What's the floor? Because I'm looking at it and I still think like 84, 85 is like that, like the ultimate, like to me, like I think this team could
win like 76 games.
Really?
I think that the worst case scenario the worst case scenario is whatever. The worst case scenario for this team for me as well is like 75, 76 wins.
I think that's you're asking for the floor. I don't think
that's the floor.
That's
like
the
early 80s for me.
Distribution.
But, that's fine, dude. That's good. It's fine.
I can definitely see scenarios where this team is like mid 70s.
So CJ, you're under, and you like 4th at 5-1.
4th at 5-1.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that with you. I am under. I had him at 86, and then I dropped it. Every time I get Bieber news, I drop it a little bit more. To be totally honest, it's also just here's the thing about Gausman. It's that he has that splitter and he has that sweeper, and he's got these 2 pitches that like the bottoms of. You should drive the car until it crashes. I agree. But between Gausman and Cease, you are driving multiple cars that have done been high performing for 4 years with a workload that there's a depreciating thing that really concerns me from a portfolio management there. I mean, like Cease has been great for 4 straight years. He's had exact thing like Logan Webb, same deal. And there isn't anything that I could pick apart on it, but that's sort of what concerns me on both of them. So it is an under there for me. I do like that. I like the Vlad 200 hits. I would take Vlad to lead the league in hits. I would love for I'm not as crazy about the over 296 batting average. Like there are things that I want to lock up on the -110, which is like the Springer under I like because there's no real way to fade him. And I think that's a creative way to softly fade Springer on the year. Like he could spiral out in May and it's like 240 with like 2 home runs and whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I'm under on that team, under on that. Yeah, and it's just hard. It's a gauntlet too. It's just all these teams.
I feel so bad being mean to Canadians. I just want to say
I do too.
Like this
like,
sucks. It does pain me to say this, McInnis. So
dude, they want us a ton of money. Like it's fine. Like,
I know. Come on, what's going on here, guys? You guys cashed a huge ticket. Like, it's just like, you guys agree with me though? Like when you look at the starting pitching, just from like an outside like name perspective, it's like a shiny car, and then you get inside that car and you're like, you start driving, you're like, this doesn't really feel like something's wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like you're just like,
what's that noise?
I don't know. I gotta check.
Yeah, noise is fine. Just ignore it. It's not that.
That's how I feel.
Car doesn't do this in America. It's not.
Like look at Bieber. We know what he can be. We know what he's been in the past. You know, like Gausman, we've seen what he can do. And then C says obviously they pay him a boatload of money and they're looking forward to him hopefully having success here. And not to transition it into another sport, but it's the same thing in hockey, guys. Free agents don't want to come to Canada. It's harder to get them to move their families or whatever it might be. So you end up getting guys that have always been good, but they're a little bit older. You know, they're in different positions in their career. So, but it's also a time to be in the spotlight. So, and I think Okamoto, guys, nobody's really talking about what this guy's capable of. I'm looking forward to. True. Hopefully he can be that contact hitter that we don't need him to be hitting homers left and right. Just get on base, be consistent, bring runners home. But CJ, maybe I'm being too optimistic. But what about Louis Varland?
This is a completely different conversation if your team plays in the AL Central. If they're in the Central and you have the best teams that you're playing against are the Royals, Guardians, and Tigers, that to me is demonstrably different than playing against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles. And then not to mention that, you come out of that gauntlet, guess what? You've got Seattle, who we obviously really, really like coming out of the AL West. So who knows? Look, I could come on this podcast in a few months and, I'll have to, in some way eat my hat. But I think that there's more. If you're driving the car and you put a lot of miles on it, as soon as you hit a few of those potholes here in East New Jersey, baby, like that could end poorly for you. So
I am going to be so nervous whenever any of these starters leave the game, and I'm hoping that's what ends up happening. I really am. But
yeah,
when Varland gets that pat on the back, or when Fluharty's getting fired up in the pen, like these guys better go and do a good job, because I do not want to see games collapse. Like, I hate to say it, I'm talking about a win total over. This is a first 5 or nothing team, team total or nothing team with me. I know a lot of people that faded the Blue Jays over the past year or two in the second half of games, just because they were getting unbelievable prices when they were up 5-1, 5-2, whatever it was. And it's like, good for your starting pitcher. Let's see what the bullpen can do. It's nobody. You talked about Hoffman, CJ. Like, anybody, I'm sure the entire country's jaw dropped for 5 minutes just waiting to see what he was going to be able to do. So it felt like in that World Series, nobody cared what the starters did. It was when the starters left the game, what was going to end up happening.
We should do? We should actually just all go up there and go to a game, and you fly in, we'll all go. We'll go to 2 games. We'll go to a weekend set.
Go when that roof is open. Just looks glorious.
It looks awesome. By the way, it was 60 degrees today, which I was very happy about. I think all of us in winter.
Never been to Fenway.
It feels like spring,
dude. Come, yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. You should definitely come. All right.
I can't say I've been to Yankee Stadium and I'm not Fenway. I mean, I'm team ball. I like Boston, so I got to go support. Yeah. I got to go to Fenway for sure.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'll always shout out the X first, because you guys know maybe I could be a fun follow, maybe I could be an annoying follow, but
you're great.
Like a maniac.
I have you on notifications. You're one of 5 people I have on notifications because I don't want to miss any of your stuff.
I hope you take a night or 2 off with me and just click no sometimes, because sometimes I'm a maniac when it comes to the Canadians or the Blue Jays or the Packers or whoever it is.
No, you're good, dude.
At McInnis Picks, you guys can see it, of course, on the screen. And for those of you guys on podcast, daily podcast host with Puck Time on Wager Talk TV, 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'll be doing daily MLB single game videos. I hosted a video on Wager Talk just called Wager Talk First 5. And just all of my videos were just about, obviously, first 5 innings, whether it were team totals or sides. And it's pretty much just Andrew does not want to worry about bullpens. So you guys can check that out.
We got to
They're
get you on
only
a
about 4 or
thread
5
with
minutes.
Colby. We really got to get you in touch with our boy Colby, because Colby also is a big first 5 proponent. He talks about it, I feel like, every single time. He's like our baseball couple on this show. So yeah, we will definitely get you in touch.
And he's a Yankees fan. So
okay. Well, I was going through my numbers for last year, and the run line numbers were pretty good. And I was like, man, I'd never bet the -1.5. And then I remembered it was the first 5 innings -0.5. Like I was great. Like, oh, okay, because I hate run lines, but the -0.5 in the first 5 innings is great.
You get great. Also, if you do dogs in that situation, you get like 3-1. You get like crazy prices for like, and it's way better value than like a money line, because it's maybe they're tied and that's great, but generally speaking, if you like the dog's going to be up like 1-0, and it's fantastic. All right. This was great. We knew we were going to go longer on this one because it's the Jays and we have a lot to say about them. Once again, thanks to our sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets, hofapp.com. Use code DADS. Also go to Handigraphs. We got a whole bunch of new stuff for MLB that's coming out. More on that if you go to Handigraphs. And for CJ, for Spencer, for McInnis, I am Adam Rosenberg. We are 2/3 of the way done. Our MLB
over
previews.
halfway, people.
Over halfway, and we'll see you on the next one.